What did a friend do that instantly turned you on? I had a really good friend in grad school. We would talk, ride motorcycles, go to local fairs, hang out, and just generally have fun. She was very pretty, but I never thought of her in a romantic or sexual way. She was taking belly dancing lessons and decided to give me a quick sample while we were at the library. I was instantly turned on and couldn't think of her in any other way after that.
Boy, if you don't...
We all know what happened next. Absolutely nothing. We were still friends, still did all the same stuff, until we graduated. She had a boyfriend that I was friends with. Nothing else happened. I had a personal trainer friend brag about her braided ponytail and then had me give it a sharp tug while we were at work. We both immediately understood that could not happen at work again. Yeah, definitely could not happen at work again, but not at home. Friend, but also coworker. We were on a work trip for a week. It was a long week and our flight ended up getting canceled not once, but twice. Anyways, she bought a new shirt to wear on the last day on our flight home as she didn't pack extra. On the ride to the airport, she said, "OMG, f this," and took her shirt off to pull a tag off. Pulled it off, sat there in her bra for a few seconds, yes, and then put her shirt on. I don't know. Her confidence, and the fact she didn't care about the situation, little crush was formed that day. When I was in high school, I went to an outdoor concert with a friend. There was a group of people all from my high school that we joined and passed around some snuck-in liquor. Eventually, a girl who I had always found attractive looked at me and jumped onto my front, and I held her up by her thighs for a couple of minutes while we talked face to face. That was hard to get over for a while. Yup, that must be rock hard. I was crossing the road with the former classmate in college, and as we were about to go, a car sped up suddenly, and he put his hand in front of me to protect me from going. I didn't find him attractive or anything, but that was surprisingly to me a huge turn on that came out of nowhere. He hugged me when I had my coat unbuttoned, and instead of putting his arms over it, he slid his arms inside my coat and hugged me really close. His palms were so warm on my back that it was an instant thing. Always liked him, but that was the aha moment. Told me he really likes my body, then got flustered trying to rephrase.
You understand perfectly well what I mean.
He meant my tattoos. I had a new one on my arm. I think he blushed a little. I normally dressed in comfy pants and a baggy top when I worked in the office, still business professional, for years. One day I went in wearing a fitted skirt and top and high heels since I had an important meeting. When I walked past my friend's desk, he was leaning back in his chair on a call. He looked up to wave hi, like he normally does, and ended up falling backwards out of his chair.
Oh no, you guys are full of...
Saw him in a totally different light after that. She nuzzled into my neck during a hug. We hadn't seen each other in a while, so it was definitely an interesting surprise. She changed her clothes in front of me while casually talking.
What?
Man, I had a friend that I met after me and my girlfriend broke up. I was super into her but was too dumb to notice the signs. We played beer pong at my dad's house one night and, looking back, she was throwing out signals. One day we were alone at her house and she was showing me outfits she was considering wearing later that night. Literally changing right in front of me.
Oh my God! Wow!
Why the hell I didn't realize what she was doing, I'll never know. Every winter I go down to El Salvador with my sister and her husband, who is from there. One of BIL's friends always hangs out with us and picks us up from the airport. Last time, I gave him a warm hug and hopped in the car. Apparently that hug was talked about a lot. I have no idea what I did, but he DM'd me a few weeks ago, and now I'm trying to learn Spanish so I can tell him I want to touch his butt too. Anyone know what's the Spanish for, "I want to touch your butt"? She was the girl next door. We would chat, but nothing else. Until one day she kissed me. 48 years later, she is still kissing me. But what if one of you has to move houses? Not me, but the girl. I worked with a girl, and we share a bit of an age gap. She's 11 years older than me. We were talking about dating, and someone mentioned they'd never date someone older. I looked at the girl and I said, "I'd date someone 11 years older than me." She told me that's the moment she realized she was attracted to me. It's not much, but now we have a 2-month-old baby. Sitting on my face when wrestling after she'd pinned me was a surprising start.
Giggity giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
We were sitting in a park, and she decided to show me some of the stretches and exercises she does every morning. Some of them turned out to be, to my eyes at least, very provocative and definitely made me feel a certain way. That was the first time I'd seen her in a more than friends light. Fast forward a few years, and we're now in a relationship, and I still get to see her do those stretches most mornings. She was dressed as a police officer for a Halloween party, and I jokingly suggested she handcuffed me. I learned new things about myself that night.
Naughty, naughty.
I went as a doctor. She was a sexy nurse. She came up to me and said, "Hey, we work at the same place." Now, I was unemployed at the time and very confused. I said, "Okay," and couldn't get over my confusion to make decent conversation. I figured it out about an hour later when I saw her hanging on to the only other dude there dressed in scrubs. I like your ending better. She came over to our friend's house and was wearing a zip-up hoodie. She came over and gave me a hug and then told me she wasn't wearing a bra or anything underneath and unzipped it a little.
Yes, yes, more.
She surely knows how to make an entrance. We were having a conversation about the use of the word daddy in the bedroom. I said something about how it didn't do anything for me. She walked up to me, looked up at me with her best bedroom eyes and said, "You don't like it, daddy?"
Come to daddy.
I had never liked it before that moment, but damn it, that was really hot. I knew this girl who was hands down the prettiest I've ever seen. No makeup with her hair pulled back. She smiled at me while trying my glasses on. I had to turn away due to my body's reaction. We were outside, so I was able to act naturally. I still remember this girl in middle school that sat on my lap, took my hat off, put it on, and said, "Don't you think I look just as cute with it on?" I melted. Is it your stick that melted? I had been talking to a girl on Snapchat and eventually decided to hang out one day. We planned on a little beach trip just to get to know each other. She is from the next state over. She was so attractive that 4 of my 5 best friends insisted I was being catfished. She got to my house and saw my old 92 F-150 that I was building. I had just gotten some lockers installed and was working on putting the axles back in. She knew what everything meant and offered to help me put it back together. So, instead of going to the beach, she actually helped me get my truck put back together.
Guess what? I love you. I love you. I love you.
My neighbor came over and said they were boiling crawfish and offered some. She went and got crawfish, sat under my truck with me, peeled and fed them to me one by one. She literally moved in the next weekend, and we have been inseparable ever since. Now married with 2 beautiful babies. Edit. Forgot to mention that we originally met on Tinder. Pickup line was, "Anyone ever told you that you're finer than a frog hair split 3 ways?" And she answered with, "Shooey, butter me up and call me a biscuit. That's about the sweetest thing anyone's ever told me." I knew she was a keeper then. Also, I told my brother I wanted to get married on the 4th of July with fireworks and a bouncy house at my wedding, and I kid you not. 5 minutes later, she brought up wanting fireworks and a bounce house at her 4th of July wedding. That was before we ever met or talked about a relationship. Fellas, the signs will be there if she's the one.